cliche that you'll sometimes hear in the homesteading world and in life in general, and it goes something like this. Boy, there's never a dull moment around here. Well, I take slight exception to that cliche. There are dull moments. They're rare, but they exist. And when they do occur, at least for me, I like to relish them. Dull often means peaceful. Just think about it. Drowsing off over a book after a long day of working out in the barn, pausing to watch the blue jays and chickadees gather at the bird feeder. Dull isn't necessarily all that bad. Now, with that nice preamble out of the way, I do need to say that this week at the homestead has been neither dull nor peaceful. It's been bananas, and I realized that I owed you guys some updates, 4 to be in fact, including some surprising news from our feathered friends in the chicken paddock. So grab yourself your favorite hot beverage and some sturdy boots, and let's take a walk. The first update is really good news. I've had several folks ask me about the propane saga and whether or not our cats froze to death inside our ice box of a house. Well, I'm here to tell you that the propane fairy did make a visit last week, and we've been living in toasty warmth ever since. However, there's been some slight differences in our approach to heating. First, I've got to note that propane is not cheap, especially in the winter. And as you may have noticed on the little indicator dial, they can't even fill the tank up all the way. They can only fill it up to 75 or 80%. So in a show of some restraint, we've maxed our heat out at 68 degrees instead of 70. Also, we covered some of the floor-length windows that we have with curtains or fabric to help stifle some of the drafts. I never thought it would make that big of a difference, but it really has. The second update is also good news. A lot of folks have wondered about how my parents made out after the whole sunk mud U-Haul affair. Well, I'm happy to say that Mom and Dad are both settling into the new place. They've been here now for a few weeks. They still got a lot of boxes to unpack and junk to put in their dumpster, but things are moving. I plan on walking you guys through their place in kind of an after video here in the next few episodes, so stay tuned for that. I think you guys are going to flip when you see how much work they've done. The third update involves the barn cleanup, and let's just say that I've got a lot of salvage. I really didn't expect to find all this good, serviceable wood left over in the barn, so it was quite a surprise when I started pulling these planks down to find that they're in really good shape, and I don't want to get rid of them. This is the type of wood that I can use for raised beds, that I can use for chicken tractors, that I can use for any number of farm implements or infrastructure items. So I'm definitely holding on to this stuff. Now, originally I'd started keeping this wood in the little manger shed, but as I alluded to in my last video, there's no way that's going to hold all of this good wood. Also, I gotta say, it's really nice having a clean barn emerge from the clutter. All 4 of the stables in the downstairs part of the barn are pretty much cleaned out. I'm going to put deep litter on them eventually, maybe mulch as well, but they're clean. They don't have cabinets or broken glass or old buckets or anything in them. They're ready to go, basically. And the hayloft itself is actually coming along as well. That's where I'm finding most of that wood, is up in the hayloft. Now I've got maybe 80% of the floor space in the hayloft ready to go, as well as some lamps up there. For update number 4, I'd like to introduce you to a chicken called Fighter. Now, Fighter is one of the original 12 chickens that we bought at the beginning of September from Rural King. 12 female 2-day-old chicks of various breeds. Now, starting at about maybe week 2 or 3, we started to notice that Fighter was acting quite a bit differently than the other chickens. She was bullying them whenever they went to different corners of the brooder box. She was even attacking our hands when we put our hands down in to feed them. So we thought that was kind of strange, but you know, some chickens act differently, and we thought Fighter was just an example of that. Well, starting at about week 4, about a month in, we began to notice physical characteristics that were different on Fighter than the other birds. For one, she started growing a very big, bright red comb and wattles, which none of the other chickens started to grow. In fact, most of the other chickens don't even have wattles at all, and they have kind of tiny little pink nubs for their combs. But as you can see, that's not the case with Fighter. So beginning about a month ago, we were starting to wonder if Fighter wasn't a she at all, if we actually had a rooster on our hands. And until yesterday, that was up in question. But as I was working in the barn yesterday, I heard Fighter let out what can only be described as a very pathetic cock-a-doodle-doo. A cock-a-doodle maybe, a cock-a-doodle don't. I'm not going to repeat what I heard yesterday, but it was pretty pathetic. I've tried to get Fighter to replicate that sound again. So far, he hasn't given it to me, but if he will, then I'll get it on video, hopefully. But needless to say, we did not expect a rooster, and it looks like we have one. Now, the one thing that's kind of up for debate, well, we're pretty sure that Fighter's a rooster. We're not sure what breed he is. He was originally sold to us as a Starlight Olive Egger, and the folks at Rural King said that they thought he was a she at that point, would give us green eggs. But after doing some research, we found that these Starlight Olive Eggers are almost always brown. And as you can see here, Fighter is not brown. Fighter is white and black. So we have no idea what breed this chicken was. We think it was an accidental chick that got into the batch of Starlight Olive Eggers. But needless to say, we've got ourselves a rooster, and hopefully we'll start to hear some more crowing here eventually. Or maybe not, hopefully. We'll see. If you have any ideas as to what type of chicken Fighter might be, I'm all ears to hear what you think. Before I leave, I wanted to send a special thank you to Jan and Frank Gifford. Jan actually made this pillow and sent it along to us. We got it today. I just wanted to say how thoughtful that was and how much we appreciate this. I'm not in the business of making pillows, but if I was, I'd make a pillow just like this. It fits our living room perfectly, and every time we look at it, we're reminded of what we're doing here on our family farm. So again, thank you so much. That was very, very kind. Anyways, until next time, here's to dull moments.